Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Liner to Left. I am your host, Tyler Gallo, and I'm usually joined by Colby Sherwin, but I figured with softball off to their hottest start in franchise or program history, I would get a little closer to the action, and I'm joined today by head coach Jexx Varner. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so first off, how are things going? How are things going with you and with the team as well?
Going well. Obviously, it's a great start for the season, and we're really excited about the way that we played this past weekend against some pretty good opponents. And you start to feel really great about the preparation that you've put in, and realizing and start to see how well we're playing. And I think the ladies understanding that as well, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the preparation and stuff like that. Do you think that's the biggest reason for the hot start, or do you think it's just everybody's really just hitting on all cylinders right now?
I think there's a preparation, and I think that goes from the way we've built the roster, the intent that we had in kind of the vision. Coach P, Coach Bonnie, Coach Nat, and I have all had in what we wanted to how we wanted this roster to fill out, and what we thought would be the best for us. And then the women themselves just buying in. They had a great fall. They played really, really well, and we had a really good preparation in January and early February. And they're playing, obviously they're playing really well, but I think it is their work ethic and preparation has led to being able to go out there on the field and just play and just do their thing. And when they do their thing, they're really, really good.
And that's what we've seen so far this year. So, you guys have played in a ton of wild games to start the season. I mean, you've had complete game shutouts. You've had 14-12 games, extra innings and, go-ahead home runs in the seventh. I mean, as a coach, just like watching that, is it stressful to see some of these games, or is it sort of just like, oh my goodness, some of these games are happening?
It's one of those things. There's multiple layers to that. One is the girls joke all the time with us, like they're giving us gray hair, and I think the white in my beard is very much an indication of kind of that stress for sure. But we talk about a lot is championship programs, championship teams know how to win in a 1-0 ball game, and they can win a 14-12 just knock-down, drag-out fight. Yes. And we showed that obviously in our last two games at Winthrop were great games like that. And that's what's kind of cool is you start to realize these are the things you talk about, and you realize that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to win that game like that, but you also need to be able, when it's ugly, because that Albany game on Sunday was ugly.
Yeah.
From our end. And to realize that we can play an ugly game and still come out and win, I think that was big for our women to realize and boost some confidence for them.
Yeah, definitely a wild affair just seeing the box score
Yeah.
after. This season you guys have a lot of new players, some transfers, Meadow, Taylor as well, and, Anna Resnick has had a really good start to the season. Can you speak on what they've brought to the team a little bit?
A ton. I mean, it's interesting looking across our infield at different times this season so far, and having Meadow behind the plate, having Elena Kuchjani at third base, who's been unbelievable in the leadoff spot for us and been a real game changer there. Charlotte being a sophomore and kind of seeing her growth from her freshman year to this year. Obviously, Anna's off to a great start and played a great fall, and she's really she's such a calming presence for a freshman that is well beyond her years, and it's awesome to see her go out there and play. Meadow has been great behind the plate, and I think people will start to recognize how good of a receiver and how good of a catcher she is. And Taylor, there's not a whole lot more I can say about Taylor other than I've known that kid since she was 16 years old. I started a recruiting process while I was at another school with her. Loved her since then. I've watched her through her entire career, obviously. We love Rachel, and we're so happy that Rachel also came here. But the opportunity to bring Taylor into this program, I told her I wanted her to get here because I thought it would be really cool for her to play with Rachel,
Right.
But I also thought there's still so much more in her game that we could develop. And she has just exploded. She's been awesome for us in the circle and at first base and hitting third in the lineup. It's those new faces that have really stepped up, and I mean they're a huge piece of why we are 9-1.
Right, and another, good thing about the last week, Charlotte Grover winning Horizon League Player of the Week. I mean, that honor alone is good enough, but how much does that mean for the rest of the team to see the players, the work ethic that they've put in is actually, being reflected in hardware?
It's the hardware. To be completely honest with you, I think obviously they like the hardware. They like that stuff. They like our Colonial Challenge belt and Player of the Week things that they do. They love those things. But to be honest with you, it is being able to look at our schedule and say 9-1 and be able to know the teams that we beat. That's what the pride is, I think, and that's the thing that they're taking the most of, is like, we're putting in this work and we're going 9-1 and we're playing really good teams and getting the W's, and in any way possible we find a way to get a W. That's the reward, I think, as much of anything, because we've talked about it from the young ones playing right now, but the seniors who aren't necessarily maybe playing a lot right now, it's their leadership is why the young ones have been able to be calm, cool, collective in our moments, and they're all seeing it as a team, and that's what's so cool about right now.
Right, and then sort of that never say die mentality has been showing up. I mean, the one game, down 1-0 going into the 7th, and then Charlotte hits the home run to tie it and start the rally. I mean, can you speak on that as a coach, just to see the players really, turn it on when it gets late and things are, maybe not in their favor, and then turn it on?
And you kind of touched on it with the stressful moments, the stressful games that we've had. And one of the ongoing conversations that we've had as a team so far is, at no point have we felt down and out. Right. And that's a really cool feeling. Like, to know that we are 3 outs away from possibly losing a game, and at no point did we ever feel like we are not going to be able to do this. Being down 4 against Albany in an ugly game on 2 separate occasions, being able to come back and not feel really worried about it and know that we have the ability to come back. I mean, our second game of the season, we had to come back and win the second game of the season. Our third game of the season, we had to come back down 3-1 and win that ball game. So they're showing it in all phases and being able to believe in themselves that nothing's too stressful, nothing's too big for us. We can come back because we're talented enough to do that.
Yeah, and so one thing I've noticed is that last year you had a different hashtag with statement season, or it was statement season. This year it's summit season. Can you speak of the message behind those two as we've gone 1 year in advance?
To some extent, I will let them kind of let them drive their hashtag and their thought process. It's very obviously personal within our program and within what we're thinking, but ultimately it is about, we felt like statement season was us stepping into a new conference and being able to make a statement that we're here to play and we can do this and we can compete against all of anybody in this conference and do well. And I think we very much did that. And I think we are now, this is the next progression. I think that's what summit season really is about. It's the next progression for us. It's no longer making the statement. Now it's, we've got mountains to climb, and we have a goal in mind, and that's what this is all about. Right.
And so, speaking, you mentioned it a little bit, last year, the statement, the Horizon League tournament you guys played in obviously ran into a tough, 2 opponents going into it, but how did that experience sort of galvanize the team going into this year?
I think it helped them, again, believe in themselves and realize that they can do this. I think also at one point during that conference tournament, we had 5 different freshmen on a field in a conference tournament game, and realizing it's not too big for us. We can go out there and we can do this. And we ran into the 2 best pitchers in the conference. Yeah. Like, that's ultimately what it comes down to. We ran into Sydney Campbell at Oakland. We ran into Ellie Buffenbarger from Youngstown, the 2 best pitchers in the conference. It's not the results we wanted, and we know that we can go out there and beat them, but we just didn't get it done that day. But we started to fight back in that Oakland game, and with elimination on the line, with the winning run, we had the go-ahead run at second base in that game in the 7th inning, and that's the kind of energy, that's the kind of fight, and that they've been able to take from that year, and it made them hungry. And they're not satisfied at all making that statement. They're hungry for more.
Yeah, and we definitely saw that, especially, to start this season. And then speaking of pitchers, it's been a really good year for the pitching staff thus far. They've sort of they've done a good job of limiting, the runs scoring this year. Speaking of them, and, Dana and Taylor and Rachel and all of them really pitching well. I mean, what has that been like to see as a coach?
It's been awesome, and it's been something that we have been very deliberate in doing. Coach P and I really, Coach P being our pitching coach, and I have really been deliberate of the way we wanted our pitching staff to look. And we wanted a staff, and we wanted to preach that mentality to our to these women that you don't have to go out there and throw every single game. Right. You don't have to go and throw back-to-back days even, or full starts back-to-back days. You take the ball and you run with it when you got it, and the next person behind you has got you. Whether it's in relief or the next game, they've got you. And that depth has built a confidence that they can go out there and give everything they've got for that game, and they don't need to worry about the next one because the next person right next to the woman right next to him is going to pick them up in any way, shape, or form. And that's what Taylor's been a huge part of bringing in, and Maddie, our freshman, has been huge in that. And I mean, we're built for a reason, and built this way for a reason, very intentionally, and all of them have really bought into what they're looking to do and what their job is. And Coach P has done an unbelievable job with them in helping foster that staff mentality, but also helping them elevate their game so that it's also not just, I don't know, you give up a few runs and then you hand the ball off or you go up over. It's, I'm going to dominate this game. I'm going to hand the ball off to the next person in the next game, and they're going to dominate their game. And that comes from the work they've been doing in the bullpens with Coach P and kind of that competitive nature that all five of them have really developed.
Yeah, and we definitely saw that, opening day shutout for Dana Vitakis. And then speaking of coaching, you've had Natalie on the staff this year is helpful. Last year, one heck of a season, and then moving on. How much of a help has she been, and how much of a mind has she brought to the staff this year?
It's been awesome. She really has done a great job with our hitters and being able to work with them through mentality, through some mechanical things, but one of the things that made Coach Nat so great in her career was she was very level-headed. She was never too high, never too low, and it's that calming sense that has been really important, especially with, if you break it down, 13 underclassmen, 13 sophomores, freshmen, and she's been able to work with them. And I think she's also helped, even on a pitch calling perspective, is helping Coach P in what maybe a coach or what a hitter is thinking in this moment. Right. And we haven't even been able to see the full breadth of what she's capable of bringing to this program from a coaching perspective yet, and it's so cool. It's cool because she's done a great job for us, and I think the young women have really galvanized around her and really enjoyed her time. Yeah,
definitely good to have someone that's been through it before to have on the staff. And then one player that we haven't seen this year because she's had an injury is Christina. Super utility player, great player to have, especially at the top of the lineup. I mean, how much has she sort of been a good player for this team in the past, and then how much have you guys missed her in the early portion of the season?
We have definitely missed her. Unfortunately, it's I can't get too much into her injury, and I won't get too much into her injury, but I think she has really done a good job, even in this injury, being able to be a positive influence on the bench and really be a positive person within our program. Her impacts and her abilities to do things from the left side and the right side were great for us. But you're never also, one of the things we really try to preach with everybody, and I think it's important to work with, especially through injuries, is that your value isn't tied to your results that you put on the field. Right. And so much of what you can bring to a program and bring to your teammates is also the things that you do off the field. And she's been really great in the dugout for us as well. She's provided some leadership and some experience for the freshmen. Again, I've said this to the team many times, but whether they're playing a lot or not, our seniors and super seniors, that group of five, and Elena and Taylor, and even our juniors have been so instrumental to the success of the young ones that I never want to go a moment without acknowledging how important they have been to their development. And obviously Christina's a part of that crew that has really helped the young players for sure.
Yeah, and so, rolling through the Carolinas over the past couple of weeks, you guys are headed out west, Pacific Northwest, some tough teams in Seattle, Oregon State, and Washington. I mean, what are you looking forward to, I guess, through this whole stretch of games that you have coming up?
We're looking forward to I think a lot of players, this is really the first time they've ever been to the Pacific Northwest. So I think that's pretty great and be able to experience that. Obviously, with Taylor, Rachel, and Charlotte, this is going home for them. This is a homecoming for them, so that's really cool. I think playing that level of competition, that's where we're looking to go.
Right.
Portland State, Seattle U, Washington are all regional teams. Washington is is ranked 6th in the country right now. Great team. Oregon State is a Pac-12, obviously Power 5 school that you're going to look and want to go out there and show that you can compete with. And you get another level. It's just another layer to the schedule. From this past weekend was 4 teams all ranked in the top 3 in their conference preseason, and we did extremely well. And now we take that next step up. Is Portland State was at a regional, and Washington is 6th in the country, and Seattle is at a regional. Those are teams we want to go out and face. And I have a strong belief that if you want to be at a regional and you want to win a conference championship, you need to create a regional atmosphere at some point during your scheduling. And that's what this trip is going to do. It's so that when we get to that regional and when we get that opportunity to compete at a regional level in May, it's not the first time we're doing it.
Right.
We've experienced it. We've played teams at that level, and that's what we get really excited for. It's a new opportunity that is really exciting for the program.
Yeah, and we're all definitely looking forward to it here and looking to see how you guys do. So, and then of course you guys are heading into conference play coming up. I mean, what are your expectations for the conference play? I know last year, 4th place, you got into the Horizon League tournament. Is that the expectations are nothing less than that this year?
That is their definitive goal, is what they've said, is nothing less than that. We have obviously big aspirations, and we believe in the team that we've put together. I think they believe in themselves, and again, this start has really helped that we have a team here that can compete and win this. And that's what we believe in, and that's what we're shooting for, is just to go win a championship. Because they're capable of doing that. And this 9-1 start has really helped them believe in that right now.
Yeah, it's definitely been an absolute joy to watch the team thus far this season. Once again, thank you for coming on. If you have anything else to say, to the people, now is your time to say it.
No, I appreciate this time, and I really appreciate all the love you guys give us, and the love that we're kind of getting around campus right now. That's great. The girls have recognized it, and we're really excited for this season. And they're just an awesome group. They're an awesome group of women, and they've fully bought into what we're doing and what their goals are. And that's been one of the coolest things to watch, is 22 deep. They are a deep roster that is built for a reason, and they believe in each other, that we are capable of doing really special things.
Yep.
And that's cool.
Yeah, we are definitely, we love the coverage as well. We love putting out stuff about all the teams on campus, especially you guys, as you guys are in the best stretch of softball during the time here. So once again, Coach, thanks again so much for sitting down with me today. Really appreciate it. And this has been Liner to Left, Tyler Gallo and Coach Jexx Varner, and we'll see you next time whenever we decide to record. Thank you.